Finding Purpose in the Everyday, a biblical perspective on vocation and work. Have you considered the dust? The very substance from which your frame was breathed into being, the soil upon which you stand, the raw material you shape and mold with your hands day upon day. You call it by many names: wood and stone and thread and data. But it is all dust. And in the endless shaping of this dust, you ask your heart the ancient, aching question: why am I doing this? Does any of it matter? You feel the weight of your labors and wonder if it is anything more than a fleeting breath, a chasing after the wind. Listen and be still, for the answer was given before the question was ever formed. The purpose you seek in the towering achievements of men is hidden in the quiet dignity of a single faithful task. Your work is not a punishment for your existence, but a thread in the grand tapestry of creation. You have been invited into the very work of the Creator, to be His hands in a world that is groaning, waiting to be made new. Let us now walk through the garden of this truth and see that the most common ground is, and has always been, holy ground. Part 1. The Divine Blueprint of Work, from Eden to Exile. In the beginning, before the shadow of toil fell across the land, there was a garden, and in this garden there was work. Do not mistake this truth. Work was not born of a curse. It was woven into the fabric of paradise. Before sin entered the heart of man, I placed him in the Garden of Eden, not for idle repose, but to work it and take care of it. This was the first vocation, the primordial commission. This work was a seamless dance of partnership. It was an act of co-creation, of bringing forth beauty, order, and fruitfulness from the richness I had made. In naming the animals, man was participating in my own act of ordering the cosmos. In tending the garden, he was an extension of my own providence. The work was not a means to an end, not for survival, not for status, not for wealth. It was an end in itself, a pure expression of joyful relationship between the creature and the Creator. There was no sweat of anxiety on his brow, only the glisten of joyful effort. His labor did not deplete him, it completed him, for in it, he was acting out the very image in which he was made, the image of a creative, purposeful God. Then, the harmony was broken. The choice to turn away, to seek wisdom apart from its source, introduced a deep and sorrowful discord into the music of creation. And this discord echoed profoundly in the nature of work. Hear the words of the curse. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil, you will eat food from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you. Mark this well. Work itself was not the curse. The curse was the frustration within the work. The ground, which once yielded its fruit in joyful partnership, now offered resistance. The thorns and thistles represent the futility, the opposition, the projects that fail, the relationships that sour, the constant wearying friction that you now experience in your labor. The sweat of your brow is not the mark of hard work, but of anxious, burdensome, and often fruitless striving. From that moment, humanity was in a state of exile, not just from the garden, but from the original experience of work. Your deep-seated feeling that work should be more than it is, more fulfilling, less frustrating, more meaningful, is a holy memory. It is an echo in your soul of the garden. the weariness you feel in your bones at the end of a long week, the sense of alienation from the fruits of your labor, the quiet desperation of a job that feels meaningless. These are the thorns and thistles of the curse. But the divine blueprint was not destroyed, only marred. The original purpose was not erased, only obscured. Even in a fallen world, the call to cultivate, to create, to bring order from chaos, to serve through your skills, remains. The story of your work did not end in exile. Rather, it became the very stage upon which a grander story of redemption would unfold. Your challenge is to see past the thorns, to look for the holy purpose that still lies beneath the soil of your daily tasks, waiting to be rediscovered. It is to understand that even in the sweat and the toil, you are being invited to once again tend the garden, to participate in its healing, and to look forward to the day when all of creation, including your work, will be fully restored. Part 2. The sacred and the secular. Every task a holy ground. You have been taught to divide your world in two. You have built a wall in your heart between the sacred and the secular. On one side, you place the holy, the church, the prayer, the sacred text. On the other, you place the profane, the office, the factory, the marketplace, the home. You live your life as if you are crossing a border each morning and each evening, leaving God in one realm to serve the demands of another. This division is a human invention. It is not of me. I am the Lord of all creation, not just a corner of it. Your life is not a series of disconnected rooms, but a single, unified temple. Every part of it is intended for my dwelling. The call upon your life, your vocatio, is not a summons to leave the world, but a commission to serve me within it. Look to the scriptures. When I sought a man to lead my people out of bondage, I did not call a king from his throne, but a shepherd from the fields. When I chose a man after my own heart, I found him not in the temple, but tending his father's sheep. When I needed a man to govern a nation through famine, I raised up Joseph, an administrator in a foreign court. When I needed a wise counselor in a pagan king's palace, I used Daniel, a civil servant. When the early church needed to expand, I worked through Lydia, a dealer in purple cloth. When the time came to build my tabernacle, the very place of my presence on Pantomime, earth, whom did I fill with my spirit? I filled the craftsmen, Bezalel and Oholiab, with wisdom, with understanding, with knowledge, and with all kinds of skills, to make artistic designs for work in gold, silver, and bronze, to cut and set stones, to work in wood, and to engage in all kinds of crafts. The work of their hands was not merely a job. It was a divine endowment, a holy act of worship that made my presence tangible on earth. Do you believe my spirit is less present in the hands of a carpenter today, or a coder, or a caregiver, or a scientist? Your work is not a distraction from your spiritual life. It is a primary context for it. Hear this truth and let it dismantle the wall in your heart. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Meditate on the profound shift this creates. When you file a report, you are not merely serving a manager. You are offering a work of order and diligence to the God of all order. When you clean a floor, you are not just working for a wage. You are creating a space of cleanliness and peace for the Prince of Peace. When you write a line of code, you are not simply manipulating logic. You are using God-given reason to build and create, reflecting the mind of the master designer. This changes everything. It elevates the mundane. It sanctifies the routine. It transforms your place of work from a place of toil into an altar of worship. The quality of your work becomes an act of reverence. Your integrity in business dealings becomes a testimony. Your kindness to a coworker becomes a ministry. You no longer work for a paycheck, for a promotion, or for praise. You work for an audience of one. Your service is to the Lord Christ. Therefore, do not despise your labor, no matter how humble it may seem in the eyes of the world. Do not believe the lie that your work only matters if it is explicitly religious. Your vocation is to be a reflection of my character, my creativity, my justice, my compassion, my faithfulness, in the specific place I have planted you. Your desk, your kitchen, your workshop, your vehicle. This is your parish. This is your holy ground. Consecrate it with your faithfulness. Part 3. The Parable of the Talents. Stewardship over skill. Consider the man who, before traveling to a distant country, called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one, he gave 5 talents of silver, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. This is a picture of my kingdom. I am the master, and the talents represent more than mere currency. They are the sum total of the gifts I have entrusted to you, your skills, your intellect, your experiences, your opportunities, your resources, your very breath. They have been given to you not as a possession to be hoarded, but as a trust to be stewarded. Notice that the distribution was not equal, but it was intentional, each according to his ability. I know you. I formed you. The measure of your gifts is not an accident. The first 2 servants, who received 5 and 2 talents, went at once and put their master's money to work. They engaged in the world. They took risks. They invested what they had been given, and they doubled its value. Upon the master's return, their report was one of fruitfulness. And what was the master's response? He did not praise one more than the other. To both, he said the very same words. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Let this truth settle deep within your spirit. My commendation is not for the quantity of your success, but for the quality of your faithfulness. The world celebrates the one with 5 talents who returns with 10. But in my kingdom, the servant with 2 talents who returns with 4 receives the exact same honor. I am not concerned with your comparison to others. I am concerned with your stewardship of what I have given you. Your purpose is not to be more successful than your neighbor, but to be more faithful with the portion that is yours. Now, consider the 3rd servant, the one who received a single talent. What did he do? He was paralyzed by fear. He saw the master not as generous and trusting, but as a hard man. He was afraid of failure, afraid of risk, afraid of falling short. And so, he did what fear always does. He dug a hole and buried his gift. He played it safe. He preserved what he was given. but he produced nothing with it. His was the sin of inaction, of squandered potential born of a distorted view of his master's character. His prudence was, in reality, faithlessness. He was a poor steward not because he lost the money, but because he did nothing with it. To him, the master's words are chilling. "You wicked, lazy servant, take the talent from him and give it to the one who has the 10 talents. This is not a story about finance. It is a story about your life's work. How many of you have been given gifts of teaching, of craftsmanship, of administration, of compassion, and have buried them out of fear? Fear that you are not good enough. Fear of what others will think. Fear of failure. You have chosen the false security of the hole in the ground over the risk and reward of faithful stewardship. To find your purpose, you must unearth your talent. You must see me not as a hard master waiting for you to fail, but as a loving Lord who is invested in you and longs to see you flourish. Take what is in your hand, whether it feels like 5 talents or 2 or only 1, and put it to work for my glory and for the good of others. Build with it, serve with it, create with it. Do not bury it, for your purpose is not found in the size of your gift, but in the faithfulness of your service, and the reward for such faithfulness is not more riches, but a deeper, more joyful intimacy with the Master himself. Come and share your Master's happiness. Part 4. Work as a ministry of service, loving your neighbor through your labor. You have been given 2 great commands upon which all else hangs: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. You often understand the first command in terms of worship and prayer. But have you considered how the second command is fulfilled in your daily work? Your labor is one of the most tangible and consistent ways you love your neighbor. You have been placed in a vast, interconnected web of human need and human giftedness. Your work is the primary means by which you serve the needs of others with the gifts I have given you. The farmer does not sow his seed only for himself. He is loving his neighbor by providing the bread that will be on their table. The plumber does not fix pipes only for a wage. He is loving his neighbor by ensuring their home has sanitation and clean water. The teacher does not instruct only for a salary. She is loving her neighbor by cultivating the minds of the next generation. The artist does not create only for self-expression. She is loving her neighbor by bringing beauty and truth into a world that is hungry for both. The janitor does not clean only for employment. He is loving his neighbor by creating an environment of order and health for all who enter. This is the doctrine of vocation. The Christian shoemaker, as my servant Martin Luther once said, serves God not by carving a tiny cross on every shoe, but by making a good shoe. Why? Because his neighbor needs good, sturdy shoes. His excellence in his craft, his honesty in his pricing, his diligence in his labor, these are all acts of love. His work becomes a sermon, preached not in words, but in leather and thread. When work is viewed through this lens, it is redeemed from selfishness. The relentless drive for personal advancement, for a higher salary, for a more prestigious title, is revealed for the idol that it is. These things are not inherently evil, but they make for a shallow and unsatisfying purpose. A greater purpose is found when you shift your focus from what you can get from your work to what you can give through it. How can you love your neighbor in your specific role today? Perhaps it is by performing your task with such excellence and integrity that the product or service you provide truly benefits the person who receives it. Perhaps it is by showing patience and grace to a difficult colleague or customer, seeing them as a neighbor to be loved rather than an obstacle to be overcome. Perhaps it is by creating a just and encouraging environment for those you lead, ensuring they are treated with the dignity they deserve as bearers of my image. Perhaps it is by using the resources your work provides to be generous to those in need. Do not be discouraged if your work feels small or indirect. The person who designs a small component for a medical device is loving the unknown neighbor whose life will one day be saved by it. The person who codes a banking software is loving the neighbor who needs a secure and reliable way to manage their family's resources. Your labor sends out ripples of service into the world in ways you may never fully comprehend. Your work is a ministry. It is not a lesser calling than that of a pastor or a missionary. It is simply a different one. You are a minister of accounting, a minister of transportation, a minister of food service, a minister of engineering. You are my hands and feet, loving your neighbor through the skilled and faithful application of your daily work. This is a purpose deep enough to sustain you through the most difficult of days. Part 5. Finding rest in a restless world. The Sabbath principle for modern work. I created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and on the 7th day, I rested. I ceased from my work, not because I was weary, for I do not grow weary. I rested to establish a pattern, to bless and sanctify a rhythm for all of creation. This rhythm is a gift to you, but you have forgotten how to receive it. Your world worships at the altar of productivity. Your worth is measured by what you accomplish, by your busyness, by your constant striving. You wear exhaustion as a badge of honor. You have taken my gift of work and turned it into an idol, and this idolatry is crushing you. You are weary and burdened, and you have forgotten the way to true rest. The Sabbath was given to you as a command for your own good. It is a weekly deliverance from the tyranny of performance. It is a declaration of trust. To truly rest, to cease from your work for 1 day in 7, is to make a profound statement of faith. It says, "My value is not determined by my output. The world will not fall apart if I stop holding it together. My provision does not ultimately depend on my own striving, but on the grace of God. I am more than what I do." The Sabbath is not merely the absence of work, it is the presence of delight. It is a day to delight in your Creator, to delight in the creation He has made, to delight in the relationships He has given you. It is a time for worship, for reflection, for feasting, for joy. True rest recharges not just your body, but your soul. It reorients your heart, reminding you of the true purpose of your work, to serve God and enjoy Him forever. In your modern world, the lines between work and rest have been erased. Technology has tethered you to your tasks 24 hours a day. The pressure to get ahead is relentless. To embrace the Sabbath principle now requires more intention and courage than ever before. It means setting boundaries. It means turning off the phone. It means resisting the urge to check your email one last time. It means choosing to be present with your loved ones, to walk in nature, to sit in stillness, to open my word, to quiet your soul before me. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. This is not an invitation to laziness, but an invitation to a different kind of life, one lived from a place of secure rest, not anxious striving. When you honor the rhythm of work and rest, your work itself becomes more fruitful. You work from a place of fullness, not from a place of depletion. Your creativity is renewed. Your perspective is clarified. Your soul is restored. Do not let your work consume you. It is a good gift, but a terrible God. Find your ultimate rest in me, and let that Sabbath peace flow into your week. Let your work be an outflow of your rest, not a frantic escape from your emptiness. For in learning to rest, you learn to trust. And in learning to trust, you discover the secret to a sustainable and purposeful life of labor. Part 6. The Hope of Renewal. Your work echoes in eternity. There is a longing in your heart for your work to last, for it to mean something beyond the passing moment. You build and create, and you see your creations decay. You strive and achieve, and you see your achievements forgotten. The wisest of men once looked upon all the labor under the sun and declared it meaningless, a chasing after the wind. And in a world divorced from its creator, he was right. But that is not the end of the story. The story does not end with a sigh of futility. It ends with the trumpet call of hope. For I am making all things new. A day is coming when there will be a new heaven and a new earth. This is not a ghostly, disembodied afterlife, but a solid, tangible, redeemed creation. It is the world you know, but healed of its brokenness, washed clean of all tears, and filled with the unfiltered glory of my presence. What does this mean for your work today? It means that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. The world often tells you that only spiritual work will last. But this is a misunderstanding of my plan. I am not planning to scrap this world and start over. I am planning to redeem it. And the good, true, and beautiful things you build today, when done in faithfulness to me, will find a place in the world to come. Think of yourself as a craftsman building a great cathedral. You may spend your entire life carving a single stone that will be placed high up on a wall, a detail no one on the ground may ever notice. Your own work seems small, isolated, perhaps even insignificant. But you are working from the master architect's plan, and your small, faithfully carved stone is an essential part of a glorious structure that will stand for ages. You may not see the finished product in your lifetime, but your work contributes to it. It has a permanence that transcends your own mortality. Every act of justice you perform in your workplace is a preview of my coming kingdom of perfect justice. Every moment of beauty you create is a foretaste of the beauty of the new creation. Every relationship you restore is a glimpse of the perfect reconciliation that is to come. Every bit of order and function you bring to a chaotic system is a reflection of the perfect order of my reign. Your work today is like planting seeds for a harvest you may not reap on this side of eternity. The world may not reward your integrity. Your boss may not notice your quiet faithfulness. Your sacrifices may go unseen, but nothing is wasted. Every cup of cold water given in my name, every task done with a heart of service, every moment you choose excellence over ease for the love of me and your neighbor, it is all recorded. It is all being woven into the fabric of the new creation. Therefore, my beloved children, stand firm. Let nothing move you from this truth. Give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, whatever that work may be, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not meaningless. It is not a chasing after the wind. It echoes in eternity. The dust you shape, the tasks you perform, the service you render, when offered up to me, it is transformed. It becomes more than a job. It becomes a calling. It becomes an act of worship. It becomes your vital participation in my grand, unending story of redeeming all things to myself. This is your purpose. It is found not in a future career, but in your present faithfulness. Now, go and work as one who is loved, for the glory of the one who first loved you.